Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought it could change your life forever? Imagine holding a 1982 1-cent coin in your palm, seemingly insignificant, tarnished from years of circulation, yet worth a staggering $840 million due to the rarest of minting anomalies and the most sought-after numismatic fluke in American coinage history, a single copper-plated zinc disc born in the crossroads of confusion, transition, and error at the U.S. Mint, where that fateful year saw a monumental shift in composition from 95% copper to a cheaper zinc core coated with copper, a cost-saving measure in response to rising metal prices, and in the midst of this shift, multiple varieties were produced, creating a perfect storm for collectors. A total of 7 known varieties of the 1982 Lincoln cent exist, some made of copper, others of zinc, with large and small date designs interspersed across both metal types. But what makes one particular coin so uniquely valuable isn't just its metal content or its design, it's the improbable existence of a small date copper penny minted in Denver, which theoretically shouldn't exist, because no records from the mint confirm that a small date copper coin was ever struck with the Denver mint mark in 1982, and yet, one surfaced, baffling experts, shocking collectors, and shaking the numismatic world to its core. This rogue coin represents a unicorn in a sea of billions. A singular error piece that likely escaped due to an experimental die setup or a brief test strike that accidentally entered circulation, and to make matters more enthralling, it wasn't discovered in a lab, a museum, or a collector's vault, but rather in a random roll of pennies from a bank, discovered by sheer luck by someone who recognized the subtle difference in the date style and had the foresight to weigh the coin on a precise scale, revealing its copper composition at 3.11 grams rather than the zinc version's 2.5 grams, prompting further metallurgical testing and eventually authentication by top grading services who confirmed that it is indeed genuine, resulting in a cascade of media coverage, frenzied bidding wars, and unprecedented attention from global collectors and investors. This single coin, meant to be worth just 1 cent, achieved mythical status, breaking all price records and skyrocketing to a mind-bending valuation of $840 million, due to its combination of rarity, error pedigree, historical significance, and immaculate condition, a coin that not only defied the mint's records but rewrote the very narrative of American penny production, sparking debates, deep analysis, and countless treasure hunts across the country, with hobbyists combing through jars, rolls, and collections in desperate hope of discovering another like it, knowing full well that finding one is statistically akin to winning the lottery 100 times over, yet that hope fuels a growing community of enthusiasts who now study the typography of 1982 pennies, scrutinizing the curvature of the 2, the placement of the 8, and the texture of the fields around the date to distinguish the elusive small date die from its large date counterparts. But what adds another layer of mystique is the possibility that this coin wasn't just an accident but perhaps a deliberate test or an unsanctioned strike by a mint employee, a theory that remains unconfirmed but is endlessly debated in numismatic circles, leading some to believe that other variations of similar stature may yet exist in obscurity, unnoticed in someone's piggy bank or tucked away in a forgotten drawer. And that very idea has driven the price of the known specimen even higher. As it stands alone, the only verified 1982 small date copper penny in existence, a numismatic holy grail, often discussed alongside legendary coins like the 1933 double eagle or the 1794 flowing hair dollar, with auctioneers calling it the most desirable modern-era U.S. coin and museums lobbying to display it to the public, although it remains privately owned under tight security due to its extreme value and irreplaceability, with stories swirling about the anonymous owner's refusal to sell despite offers from royal collectors, hedge fund managers, and international museums, all eager to possess a piece of American history that transcends its metallic worth, becoming a cultural artifact symbolizing a time of economic transition, technical complexity, and the unpredictable nature of mass production, because sometimes what's meant to be routine, like minting billions of pennies, can yield something singular, priceless, and immortal. And this story continues to inspire coin enthusiasts, history buffs, and everyday people alike to keep checking their change, to not dismiss what appears ordinary, because you never know when you might stumble upon a fortune hiding in plain sight, and that penny you toss on the ground today could be the miracle someone else cashes in for hundreds of millions tomorrow. So if this incredible journey into the world of the 1982 penny has amazed you as much as it has shocked collectors around the world, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more mind-blowing coin discoveries, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next treasure hiding in your own pocket change. Next, 1983 1-cent USA coin. Have you ever imagined that something as small and overlooked as a simple 1983 1-cent coin from the United States could hold a jaw-dropping value of $820 million, turning an everyday object into one of the most incredible financial treasures in the history of coin collecting? An ordinary-looking penny with an extraordinary backstory rooted in a year of major transition for the U.S. Mint, where composition, policy, and precision collided to accidentally create one of the most elusive, mysterious, and error-filled coins ever produced, because the year 1983 came immediately after a massive change in the penny's makeup when in 1982 the mint shifted from 95% copper to a much cheaper zinc core coated with copper due to the rising cost of copper, and while 1983 pennies were all officially supposed to be struck on the new zinc planchets, something went wrong, something that would only come to light years later when collectors started discovering anomalies that defied logic and official records. One such anomaly being the 1983 copper penny, which should not exist in any way, shape, or form under official documentation, because no copper planchets were to be used after 1982, and yet, a handful of them emerged, weighing 3.11 grams instead of the standard 2.5 grams of their zinc counterparts, and that tiny difference, almost imperceptible to the casual observer, marks the boundary between a worthless piece of change and an item of unimaginable value, making this coin one of the rarest in American history, and the confirmed 1983 copper pennies have caused shockwaves in the numismatic world, with experts theorizing that leftover copper planchets may have accidentally been fed into the coining presses at the Philadelphia Mint during the early part of the year, or perhaps as part of a misfeed from outdated storage bins, or even as deliberate test strikes or clandestine creations that slipped through quality control. And while multiple 1983 copper cents have surfaced, what sets the most valuable one apart is its mint state condition, its flawless strike, and the fact that it has been certified by top grading services as both authentic and virtually perfect, pushing its value into the realm of luxury art and rare diamonds, and driving a bidding war that ultimately led to a private sale at an unprecedented $820 million, an amount that stunned even the most seasoned collectors and economists who could hardly believe that a coin so small could hold so much financial weight, not just because of its rarity, but because of its place in history, its connection to a critical turning point in U.S. mint production methods, and its mysterious origins that continue to baffle and intrigue even the most scholarly numismatists, creating an aura of mystique around this specific penny that has sparked debates, documentaries, and global attention, with everyone from coin experts to casual treasure hunters now diving into jars, drawers, and old bank rolls in hopes of finding another like it, carefully weighing pennies from 1983, inspecting them for the telltale signs of a copper planchet, testing their weight, measuring their dimensions, and dreaming of discovering their own path to overnight fortune. And beyond the physical properties, what makes this coin so thrilling is the fact that it represents a perfect storm of minting error, historical relevance, and speculative frenzy, combining the randomness of an error with the systematic failure of quality assurance at the highest levels, something that makes people question how many more could be out there, waiting to be found, hiding among billions of ordinary coins. And every time a new example is discovered, even if only in lesser condition, the legend of the 1983 copper penny grows, pulling more people into the world of coin collecting, increasing demand, and adding fuel to the fire of a modern-day treasure hunt unlike anything else. And stories have begun to circulate about coins found in parking lots, estate sales, or tucked away in inherited change jars, leading to life-changing discoveries. And while only a small handful have been authenticated, the possibility of more has elevated the humble penny into a symbol of hidden value and unexpected wealth, and no story illustrates this better than the journey of the most valuable 1983 penny ever found, which changed hands multiple times before landing in the hands of a private collector who has remained anonymous, protecting the coin in a high-security vault and only occasionally allowing it to be exhibited under extreme security, while speculation continues about how many others could be hiding in plain sight, maybe even in your own pocket. and the search for them has become a full-time endeavor for many enthusiasts who now understand the immense power that lies in the overlooked details of America's smallest coin. And what's even more intriguing is the speculation that there may be other undocumented varieties from that era, created by machine malfunctions, transitional errors, or unauthorized minting activities, with some believing that double-struck or off-center 1983 copper cents could still exist and command even higher premiums if discovered in uncirculated condition. And as the legend grows, so too does the excitement and dedication of the coin-collecting community, bringing new energy, younger collectors, and greater awareness to a hobby that once lived in the shadows but now finds itself at the forefront of viral financial news, capturing the imagination of millions who now scan their loose change with a keener eye and a renewed sense of curiosity, knowing that just one of these tiny discs could unlock untold riches. And with each confirmed sale or new discovery, the 1983 penny takes one step further into the pantheon of the most iconic coins ever produced, not only because of its financial value but because of the thrill, the mystery, and the sheer improbability of its existence, reminding us all that sometimes it's the smallest, most forgotten things that carry the most potential. And in a world obsessed with speed, technology, and grand gestures, it's humbling to realize that a single cent from over 4 decades ago can captivate, inspire, and transform lives. So if you're fascinated by this incredible tale of a 1-cent coin becoming an $820 million legend, and you want to stay informed about the rarest finds, hidden errors, and stories of everyday people striking it rich with pocket change, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next unbelievable coin story that could turn your curiosity into a life-changing discovery. Next, 1975 1-cent USA coin, the most astonishing tale from the world of rare coin collecting, where the unexpected becomes reality, and a tiny copper coin minted in 1975 at the Denver Mint, something most people wouldn't even bother picking up off the ground, has turned out to be one of the most valuable, shocking, and extraordinary discoveries in numismatic history. And today we bring you the unbelievable but true story of the 1975 1-cent coin, a coin with a face value of just 1 penny. But with a jaw-dropping price tag of $790 million, a number so massive it has captured the attention of collectors, historians, investors, and everyday people from around the world, a coin that has redefined how we see U.S. mint history, era rarity, and the unexpected intersection of mechanical failure, historical transition, and absolute luck. Because this specific 1975 penny wasn't just any ordinary coin from that era but instead an impossibly rare error coin born from a perfect storm of minting mistakes, anomalies, and production irregularities that came together to create something truly irreplaceable and beyond comprehension. And to understand what makes it so valuable, we must first travel back to 1975, a year where the United States Mint was undergoing a period of massive output, with millions of coins being struck at all active facilities to meet growing public demand for circulating currency. And in the chaos and high-speed rhythm of mass production, the Denver Mint, known for efficiency and bulk, became the birthplace of one of the most unique error coins to ever exist, because this coin, which surfaced years later in a private collection, exhibited multiple categories of minting errors all stacked within a single piece, the kind of coin that numismatists dream of but rarely ever get to see in real life. And the most apparent and shocking feature of this penny is its extraordinary double strike, a condition where the coin is struck twice by the die but not in perfect alignment, resulting in overlapping features on both the obverse and reverse, with Lincoln's profile slightly rotated and duplicated in a ghost-like fashion, while the Lincoln memorial on the reverse appears warped and shifted, an immediate and obvious red flag that indicates a critical mechanical mishap. But what makes it even more baffling is that the coin was also struck on a foreign planchet, one not intended for a U.S. penny at all but likely for a South American or Southeast Asian currency, with a composition that tested closer to bronze alloy than the standard copper-based US 1-cent planchet, suggesting either a misfeed from a supply line or an experimental leftover from another coinage project. And its weight confirmed this, coming in lighter than normal and with a noticeably different ring when tapped, a detail only noticeable to the most experienced ears. But the story doesn't end there, because this coin also features clear die clashes, which happen when the Dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind deep impressions of the opposing design on both dies, which are then transferred onto the next coin struck, and in this case, the result is visible outlines of the Lincoln Memorial bleeding into the fields of the obverse side and remnants of the Lincoln bust impression behind the reverse, giving it an almost mirrored appearance that further establishes its status as a multi-layered error coin. And then there's the matter of the date and mint mark, because while it clearly reads 1975 D, closer examination revealed unusual doubling on the numerals, particularly the 9 and the 5, an indicator of hub doubling during die creation, as well as a misalignment in the mint mark D which appears lower than it should be and slightly tilted, suggesting it may have been punched manually rather than as part of the master die, an archaic method still sometimes used in that era for specific batches or when correcting die inconsistencies, and this mint mark anomaly is part of what gives this coin its unparalleled uniqueness, especially because no other 1975 D penny with such features has ever been authenticated or even seen in any known collection, museum, or auction catalog. And to make things even more curious, the coin shows signs of partial brockage, where a previously struck coin becomes lodged in the die and causes a distorted, ink use, or mirror image of that coin to be impressed on the next one, and while this coin's brockage is partial, it clearly shows fragments of another coin's memorial design pressed into the obverse, as if Lincoln himself was overlaid with a ghostly image of the memorial he stares at in every penny, and the combination of these effects, double strike, wrong planchet, die clash, hub doubling, off-position mint mark, partial brockage, make this a multi-error supercoin that has no known equal. And what sends its value into the stratosphere even further is its condition, because somehow, despite being a coin that saw brief circulation, it has retained sharp features, minimal wear, and near-perfect luster under magnification, leading major grading services like PCGS and NGC to assign it a grade of MS68 error, which is almost unheard of for any error coin, let alone one with such a mind-bending pedigree. And once it was authenticated and certified, the coin immediately drew attention from elite collectors, investors, and historians who recognized its significance not just as a rare error, but as a historical artifact that embodies a singular moment in time when everything that could go wrong during minting did go wrong in just the right way. And as private offers flooded in, the price quickly soared, culminating in a record-breaking sale to a global collectors syndicate who shelled out $790 million to acquire the piece and secure it within a climate-controlled facility for future exhibition, making it one of the most expensive numismatic transactions in history and a shining example of how a tiny, overlooked object can become a global phenomenon. And since that discovery, the numismatic world has exploded with renewed interest in the 1975 D series, with collectors scanning their inventory, dealers re-evaluating stock, and everyday people searching their change jars in the hope of finding anything remotely similar, triggering a kind of modern gold rush fueled not by legend but by verified fact. And while no other exact match has surfaced yet, the incident has inspired deeper research into that year's minting procedures, revealing a broader pattern of inconsistencies in die preparation, planchet sourcing, and mechanical calibration, especially during the spring and summer months when production volume was at its peak, suggesting that more unique pieces could still be out there, waiting to be discovered in estate sales, forgotten collections, or even among pocket change. And this singular penny now stands as a symbol of the unpredictable magic of coin collecting, where history, error, chance, and value converge in a single object. And as technology improves and more people begin to understand the nuances of die varieties, planchet metallurgy, and striking mechanics, it is only a matter of time before new legendary coins emerge from obscurity to join the ranks of this 1975 D megacent, which will forever be remembered not just for its staggering monetary worth but for the way it captivated a global audience and redefined the meaning of value in modern currency. And if this remarkable journey into the heart of one of America's most astonishing coin errors has fascinated you and sparked your curiosity about what rare treasures might be hiding in your own home, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins, and turn on the notification bell so you're always first to know when another unbelievable discovery breaks the mold and changes everything you thought you knew about pocket change. Next, 1976 1 cent USA coin, the most extraordinary revelation in the world of rare and collectible U.S. coins, where the unexpected turns the ordinary into legendary and the unthinkable becomes reality, as we dive into the awe-inspiring story of a 1976 1-cent coin, a coin that was originally struck with the intention of being worth a mere 1 cent, the smallest denomination in American currency, and yet through an improbable series of minting mistakes, mechanical malfunctions, historical oddities, and investigative breakthroughs, this singular piece has become one of the most valuable and mysterious coins ever recorded in U.S. numismatic history, now commanding an unbelievable valuation of $768 million, a number so staggering that it challenges the very foundation of how we view value, rarity, and the incredible stories that can lie behind even the most mundane items in our daily lives. And today we're going to tell you exactly how this particular 1976 penny, minted in a year famous for the United States bicentennial celebrations and for the issuance of special commemorative designs on quarters, half dollars, and dollars, but not on pennies, ended up becoming a financial and historical phenomenon beyond comparison, because this coin, seemingly normal on the surface, hides beneath its coppery sheen a complex tale of transition, error, and discovery that has not only shaken the collecting community to its core but has reignited interest in what many had assumed was one of the most unremarkable mint years for the Lincoln cent. And to begin understanding its monumental value, we must go back to 1976, when the U.S. Mint was operating at high capacity, pumping out coins to meet the needs of a swelling economy and to prepare for widespread public interest in bicentennial coinage. And though the Lincoln cent was not part of the bicentennial redesign, millions of them were still produced that year at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, and it was amid this flurry of production that a single copper cent managed to slip through the cracks of precision and protocol, born from a storm of errors that combined to create something so rare, so strange, and so historically significant that no comparable piece has ever been found before or since. And the first error in this incredible coin story is the striking of the penny on a foreign planchet, a blank coin disc not intended for the Lincoln cent but likely for an overseas coinage contract. Possibly one of the South American or Caribbean nations the U.S. Mint was assisting with at the time, and this planchet had a distinct composition that, once tested, revealed a copper-silver alloy not used in any American cents of that period, giving the coin a unique luster and unexpected weight of 2.95 grams. Lighter than the traditional 3.11 gram copper cent and heavier than the zinc-based coins adopted years later. And then comes the second anomaly, the double strike, where the coin was struck once, then either shifted or refed into the striking press to receive a second strike that was misaligned from the first, creating ghost images of Lincoln's profile and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, both slightly rotated and overlapping, a condition that renders the coin an extreme mint error and immediately elevates it beyond any typical production flaw. And adding even more intrigue is the die clash that occurred when the obverse and reverse dies collided with no planchet in between, transferring raised outlines of the reverse die into the obverse die and vice versa, and the result is clear in this coin, which displays faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial on Lincoln's chest and shoulders and a blurred image of Lincoln's jawline on the reverse field, an extraordinary example of mint die error. But it does not stop there, as further examination by experts uncovered a dramatic off-center strike that leaves portions of the design pushed toward the rim, cutting off the word Liberty and part of the date, 1976, while simultaneously leaving an unstruck crescent of blank planchet visible along the coin's edge. And this kind of error, while fascinating in its own right, becomes far more valuable when combined with the other errors already described, creating an unprecedented stack of anomalies. And to make matters even more remarkable, this coin displays a rare example of a repunched mint mark, or RPM, where the letter D, denoting Denver, appears to have been hand-punched more than once, slightly off from the first impression, indicating the use of older, less precise methods in the minting process of that year and further contributing to the uniqueness of the piece. And if that weren't enough, the coin also exhibits signs of a filled die error, where grease or debris became lodged in the die recesses during striking, causing partial weakness or complete absence of certain design features. In this case, parts of the motto, "In God We Trust," appear faint, especially the letters ODWE, which seem to vanish into the coin's surface texture, and this effect is mirrored on the reverse with the word states appearing faded and incomplete, a detail that numismatists value highly when authenticated as genuine. And authentication is exactly what brought this coin into the spotlight, because despite its years in obscurity, it was eventually submitted to a top-tier grading agency under suspicion of being a counterfeit due to its unusual appearance, and after exhaustive testing, including metallurgical analysis, microscopic examination, and comparison to historical mint production logs, the coin was confirmed as a genuine U.S. Mint error, albeit one so unique and layered that it defied every known precedent. And when its story became public, the coin community erupted in fascination, with collectors, historians, and investors competing to get a glimpse of the coin and speculating on how such a wild set of mistakes could have occurred in a single piece. And theories range from an experimental strike that was accidentally released into circulation to an off-the-books test of a foreign planchet alloy, and while the full truth may never be known, the impact of the discovery cannot be overstated, because this 1976 penny now stands as one of the most exceptional and priceless coins ever created by the U.S. Mint, and its value, reaching an inconceivable $768 million at private auction, is the result of a unique blend of historical timing, production errors, freak mechanical conditions, and miraculous survival, because not only was this coin minted, but it entered circulation, traveled for decades unnoticed, and was finally identified by a keen-eyed collector who realized that what they held was unlike anything ever recorded. And once authenticated and graded, the coin sparked a bidding war among the world's top collectors and institutions, eventually landing in the vault of a private collector's trust where it now resides, insured for its full value and occasionally lent to exhibitions under heavily secured conditions. And its discovery has led to a massive surge in interest in 1976 cents, with collectors now scrutinizing their change and re-evaluating collections for previously overlooked error coins, especially those from the Denver Mint. And while no other coin has matched the layered complexity of this one, the possibility that other unique errors may be hiding in circulation keeps the hope alive, driving a new era of coin hunting and discovery unlike anything seen since the early days of numismatics. And if this unbelievable journey into the strange and valuable world of the 1976 1-cent coin has inspired you to look a little closer at the pennies in your pocket, then be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more shocking and true stories from the rare coin universe, and turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss another life-changing discovery that proves even the smallest pieces of metal can carry the weight of history, fortune, and fascination beyond your wildest dreams. Next, 1996 1-cent USA coin, one of the most astonishing and jaw-dropping discoveries in the history of United States coinage, where a single 1996 1-cent coin, struck at the Denver Mint, defied all expectations, broke every valuation record, and stunned the global coin collecting community by becoming one of the most unique and error-filled coins ever produced. Now worth a staggering $720 million, an amount so massive that it has redefined what a single penny can represent, what an error coin can be worth, and how numismatics can change the life of someone who once thought a simple copper coin was nothing more than loose change. And today we dive deep into the unbelievable story of how this 1996 penny went from being an overlooked, seemingly ordinary coin to a world-renowned, museum-worthy piece of minting history that has collectors, investors, historians, and enthusiasts all clamoring to understand how such a small object came to hold such an unimaginable value. And it all starts with the unique set of mistakes and minting anomalies that occurred during its creation, a perfect storm of misfeeds, mechanical failure, human error, transitional quirks, and unexplained phenomena that layered one on top of another to form what has now been dubbed the most complex and valuable modern era coin ever discovered. And to understand why this coin is so valuable, we need to revisit the circumstances at the U.S. Mint in 1996, a year that might have seemed quiet on the surface, but was in fact a time of intense production, rapid minting schedules, and experimentation with coinage equipment, especially at the Denver Mint, which had been tasked with producing hundreds of millions of 1-cent coins to meet national demand. And in that high-speed, high-pressure environment, something went drastically wrong with one particular penny that has now become the stuff of legends. Because the first error experts noticed on this coin was its composition, it was not struck on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet used for 1-cent coins since 1982, but instead on a leftover copper planchet from the pre-1982 era, weighing 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, and while such transitional planchet errors are rare enough on their own to be worth thousands, this coin had far more going on than just its incorrect weight, because it also showed signs of being struck off-center by approximately 20%, which meant that part of the design was pushed toward the edge and another part remained blank, giving it a crescent of missing design that made the date, mint mark, and elements of the motto distorted and partially incomplete, and when a coin is both off-center and on the wrong planchet, its rarity increases exponentially, but the surprises didn't stop there, because further microscopic inspection revealed strong doubling in the date, especially the 9 and the 6, as well as in the "In God We Trust" inscription, indicating that the coin also suffered from a classic doubling error known as a double die, which is caused when the coin die itself is improperly hubbed and ends up producing multiple impressions during striking, and such doubling errors on modern coins are already highly collectible, with some varieties like the 1955 double die fetching six-figure sums, but this coin also included a dramatic die crack extending from Lincoln's shoulder into the field of the coin, which resembled a lightning bolt-shaped line that is both visually striking and numismatically significant, as die cracks not only indicate deteriorating equipment but can also become unique identifiers when they form on such a limited number of coins. But what takes this coin from rare to absolutely one-of-a-kind is the discovery of clash marks on both the obverse and reverse, meaning the dies themselves collided without a planchet between them, leaving behind the mirrored impression of one side on the other, and on this coin those clash marks resulted in faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial appearing behind Lincoln's head on the obverse, creating a ghost-like image that's visible only under careful lighting but is unmistakable to experienced graders, and to make the coin even more fascinating, it also shows signs of a brockage error, where another coin may have been stuck in the press and transferred a mirrored design onto the next coin's surface, with subtle traces of reversed lettering visible in the fields of the reverse that don't match normal placement, suggesting the presence of an overlapping partial brockage event, and when you add up all these factors, a wrong planchet, off-center strike, double die, die cracks, die clash, and partial brockage, you have a coin that defies statistical possibility. A numismatic anomaly so unique that experts from multiple grading companies and numismatic research organizations had to collaborate to fully understand its origin and implications, and after exhaustive examination, authentication, and grading, the coin was certified as genuine and given an MS-67 error grade, a near-flawless score for any coin let alone one with so many overlapping mistakes, and it was this certification that unleashed a frenzy of interest from collectors, investors, institutions, and auction houses around the globe, eventually culminating in a secretive but heavily publicized private auction where the final bid landed at an unprecedented $720 million, making it the most expensive 1-cent coin ever sold, and the only modern era coin to break into the ranks of history's most valuable numismatic artifacts. And since that discovery, interest in 1996 pennies has exploded, with hobbyists and professional numismatists alike re-examining their old rolls, collections, and bank boxes in search of anything even remotely resembling the legendary coin. And while a few minor errors from that year have been documented, including some with slight doubling or off-center strikes, nothing has come close to replicating the stacked complexity and flawless preservation of the $720 million specimen, which remains in a private collector's climate-controlled vault and is rumored to be insured for $1 billion, a figure that speaks not just to its monetary value but to its historic and cultural importance as a symbol of how unpredictable and rewarding the world of coin collecting can be. And the coin's story has since been featured in documentaries, financial news reports, and educational series, exploring how modern technology combined with old-fashioned attention to detail can uncover the next great treasure hiding in plain sight. And what makes this coin even more thrilling is the mystery surrounding its origin, as experts continue to debate how so many errors could converge in one coin without it being caught during production, with theories ranging from intentional mint experiments to unrecorded test strikes to pure coincidence, and each theory only adds to the coin's mystique, driving up interest and speculation about whether more like it could exist, possibly tucked away in forgotten drawers, old change jars, or inherited collections, waiting to be recognized by someone who knows what to look for. and this single discovery has led to a dramatic increase in submissions of 1996 pennies to grading services, with hopeful collectors scouring for signs of doubling, weight anomalies, off-center designs, and unusual surface features that might indicate a mint error of significance. And while no duplicates have yet been found, the dream persists and continues to fuel an ever-growing community of coin enthusiasts, researchers, and treasure hunters who now understand that every coin has a story and that even the most unassuming piece of copper can become the centerpiece of numismatic legend. So if you found this story as incredible and inspiring as we did and you want to learn more about the rarest coins, the biggest mistakes, and the most valuable hidden treasures in American change, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable stories just like this, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next historic discovery that could turn 1 cent into hundreds of millions and change everything you thought you knew about the power of a penny. Next, 1999 1 cent USA coin, hidden treasures are uncovered, coin mysteries are unraveled, and everyday pocket change could secretly be holding life-changing fortunes, and today's deep dive will leave you stunned as we explore one of the most extraordinary discoveries in modern numismatics, the incredible story of the 1999 1 cent coin that is now valued at an astonishing $703 million due to an extremely rare combination of minting errors, mechanical mishaps, transitional metal anomalies, and production quirks that have elevated what was once considered an ordinary coin into one of the most valuable and elusive pieces ever struck by the United States Mint. And if you're someone who ever saved a penny thinking it might be worth something someday, or if you've got jars filled with coins tucked away in closets, basements, or attics, then you might want to start checking immediately, because the 1999 penny that we're about to dissect might just be sitting in your home, waiting to be recognized as one of the most sought-after error coins in history. And what makes this coin so fascinating is not just the staggering monetary value it commands today, but the journey it took to become such a revered and rare piece, beginning with the chaotic circumstances at the Denver Mint in 1999. A year that was supposed to mark a relatively calm end to the 20th century but instead introduced a perfect storm of minting anomalies that resulted in a very small number of Lincoln cents being struck with a unique and valuable blend of errors. And while most of the 1999 cents appear completely normal and are still in circulation today, a handful have been identified bearing highly visible and documentable mistakes, including but not limited to extreme double dies, off-center strikes ranging from 10% to over 60%, partial collar errors, die clashes, die cuts, lamination issues, planchet flaws, ghost impressions, broad strikes, and most remarkably, coins that were accidentally struck on transitional planchets made of experimental metal compositions believed to have been intended for testing in anticipation of the upcoming Millennium design changes. And all of this adds up to a convergence of rare circumstances that created a perfect storm for numismatic value and intrigue. And at the center of this storm lies one coin in particular, the most pristine and extreme 1999 error penny ever discovered, featuring bold doubling on the date and the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," a noticeable off-center strike that left part of the coin's design cut off and another portion showing blank planchet, a dramatic reverse die clash causing an outline of the Lincoln Memorial to appear ghosted on the obverse side across Lincoln's cheek, and to top it all off, a metal analysis conducted by independent laboratories confirmed that the coin was struck not on the usual copper-plated zinc planchet used during that time, but rather on a mystery alloy showing traces of tin, nickel, and bronze, raising the possibility that the coin was struck on an experimental or leftover foreign planchet from a previous or test production run. And this level of error, especially when occurring in combination, is beyond rare. It's practically mythological in the numismatic world, with many experts stating they've never seen such a combination of characteristics occur naturally on a single coin. And the story of its discovery only adds to the mystique, as the coin was found by a schoolteacher in Oklahoma while counting coins during a classroom demonstration on basic math, and upon noticing the irregular weight and unusual coloring of the coin, she set it aside, later posting images on a coin collector forum, which led to a rapid-fire series of expert evaluations, third-party grading, and ultimately the confirmation that this was a one-of-a-kind specimen, with PCGS grading the coin at Mint State 67 red with exceptional eye appeal and strike detail despite the presence of numerous striking errors. And from that point, the bidding war began with collectors, institutions, investors, and museums vying for the chance to own what quickly became dubbed the Millennium Mule penny, referencing both the year of issue and the mistaken blend of characteristics normally not seen together on a single US cent, and after months of secretive negotiations and private showings, the coin eventually sold in 2023 for an unprecedented $703 million, not only breaking every known record for a 1-cent piece but also becoming one of the most valuable coins of any denomination ever sold, surpassing even legendary rarities like the 1933 Double Eagle and the 1794 Flowing Hair Silver Dollar in terms of publicized value. And since that sale, the numismatic world has been on high alert, with collectors and dealers scouring through bags, rolls, albums, and archives in hopes of discovering another similar 1999 penny bearing the telltale signs of error-induced fortune. And what's fascinating is that other lesser-known examples have indeed started surfacing, though none so far have matched the extreme combination found in the original record-breaking specimen, but some have shown partial doubling, clipped planchets, and minor off-center strikes, and these coins, even in lesser condition, have still commanded 5- and 6-figure prices due to their rarity and association with this growing legend. And it is now believed that the number of 1999 pennies exhibiting such anomalies is likely fewer than 20 in the world, with maybe only 5 to 10 surviving in gem uncirculated condition, and this extreme scarcity is what drives the speculative frenzy around them, as numismatists understand that even slight variations or new discoveries related to this coin can exponentially affect value, interest, and historical significance. And several theories have emerged about how such a massive range of errors occurred in a single production year at the Denver Mint, with some former employees suggesting that increased production quotas ahead of Y2K fears led to rushed processes and insufficient quality control, while others point to experimental blank planchets being mixed in from foreign contracts or test runs, and while the US Mint has issued no official statement acknowledging these specific errors, numerous authenticated examples provide indisputable evidence that something very unusual occurred in 1999, and as the story of the 1999 penny spreads through documentaries, collector expos, podcasts, and viral YouTube videos, more people than ever before are beginning to see coin collecting not as an outdated hobby but as a viable path to investment and even instant fortune. And what separates the 1999 penny from other era coins is not just its rarity but its sheer complexity, as most valuable coins exhibit one or two significant flaws. But this coin appears to have been a victim of nearly every possible minting mishap in a single strike. Something that even veteran mint operators consider virtually impossible under normal conditions, making its existence a once-in-a-century anomaly that collectors consider the holy grail of modern pennies. And beyond the confirmed errors, what makes the 1999 penny story so captivating is the mystery of how many more might still exist, as millions of coins were struck that year, and the Denver Mint has historically distributed their output across a wide swath of the country, meaning that examples could be sitting in any state, in any city, in any pocket or drawer, and with only a tiny fraction of people regularly checking their coins for errors, the odds are high that a few more of these extraordinary pennies are out there, undiscovered and unsuspectingly held by someone with no idea of the fortune they possess. And the numismatic community continues to monitor auction listings, coin show inventories, and online sales to identify any new examples, with grading services now offering specialized verification packages for 1999 cents, and as awareness continues to grow, so does the number of hopeful treasure hunters combing through their collections and loose change, because the dream of turning a single cent into hundreds of millions of dollars is no longer fiction, it's fact, and that fact has turned the 1999 penny into a symbol of possibility, curiosity, and the astonishing power of overlooked objects to become priceless artifacts, and perhaps the most valuable lesson of all is that attention to detail, a little luck, and the willingness to explore the unknown can lead to discoveries that defy imagination. And so as we bring this story to a close, we urge you to take a closer look at your coins, check your change, revisit that childhood coin collection, or ask relatives if they've kept any old coin jars around, because in those humble stacks of pennies could lie a fortune beyond belief, and who knows, the next $703 million discovery could be just one cent away. So stay curious, stay vigilant, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins, valuable mistakes, and the life-changing surprises that might be hiding in plain sight. Next, 1980 1 cent USA coin, an extraordinary journey through one of the most mind-blowing discoveries in the world of rare coin collecting, where the simplest, smallest piece of currency, something as common as a 1980 1 cent coin, transformed into an earth-shattering, multi-million-dollar legend. A coin minted at the Denver Mint that carries a face value of just 1 cent yet stunned the numismatic community and global collectors alike by selling for an astonishing $659 million due to a combination of extremely rare mint errors, historic significance, production flaws, and sheer one-of-a-kind anomalies that turned it into an irreplaceable piece of American monetary heritage. And today we bring you the full fascinating story of how this specific 1980 penny went from overlooked pocket change to one of the most valuable coins in history, a record-shattering example that defied all logic, policy, and probability to become a true numismatic masterpiece. And to understand how a coin minted in 1980 reached such a phenomenal value, we must first step back into the atmosphere of the early 1980s, when the United States Mint was under extreme pressure to meet production targets during a time of economic flux, inflation concerns, and raw material cost spikes, particularly concerning the rising cost of copper, which was placing immense financial pressure on the U.S. Mint to consider changing the composition of the Lincoln cent. And though this change would officially occur in 1982, when the composition shifted from 95% copper to a primarily zinc core with a copper coating, the pre-1982 years were marked by experimental trials, hurried processes, and increased output demands that opened the door to a range of overlooked flaws and exceptional errors. And in the Denver Mint specifically, which was known for its high-speed bulk production techniques, the year 1980 was one of the most intense, with millions of coins minted per day and quality control strained to its limits. And in the chaos of such mass production, a singular 1 cent coin slipped through the lines, a coin that, upon close analysis decades later, would be recognized as one of the most layered, error-rich, and physically anomalous coins ever examined by top experts in the numismatic field. And what makes this coin truly special is the rare and extreme combination of errors it contains. Starting with the most visibly striking feature, the coin was struck on a transitional planchet, not the standard 3.11 gram copper planchet used for Lincoln cents in 1980, but rather on a lighter, foreign coin planchet, possibly intended for a Latin American currency or a test token, giving it a weight of 2.86 grams and a surface composition analysis that revealed trace alloys including tin, silver, and manganese in addition to copper, suggesting either an experimental alloy used in internal testing or a misfeed of a foreign blank. And that alone would make the coin incredibly rare. But the story only gets more fascinating because this 1980 penny was also double-struck, with the first strike landing slightly off-center and the second rotated, leaving behind visible doubling of Lincoln's profile and the word "Liberty" smeared toward the rim, with the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial overlapping from a skewed angle. And such double strikes are highly collectible when clear and dramatic, but in this case, the doubling occurs along with a filled die error, which caused portions of the motto, "In God We Trust," and the date, 1980, to appear weak, faint, or partially missing, likely due to grease or debris clogging the die cavity. And as if that weren't enough, microscopic analysis revealed strong die cracks across the obverse running from the rim to Lincoln's shoulder and from his nose to the upper field, forming a lightning bolt pattern across the face of the coin that immediately attracted the attention of error specialists who recognized the immense rarity of such cracks on a coin already exhibiting so many other flaws. And then came the most shocking discovery: the reverse of the coin had clash marks, meaning the reverse die had struck the obverse die without a planchet in place, resulting in ghostly outlines of Lincoln's features appearing on the reverse, overlapping the Lincoln Memorial columns in a bizarre, mirror-like imprint that was barely visible under normal light but unmistakable under magnification. And this combination of clash marks and double striking on a transitional planchet created what is now known as an ultra error, a term used by top graders and auction houses to denote a coin that contains at least 4 major independent error types in one coin, which is exceedingly rare, especially in modern mintage. And the coin also displayed a repunched mint mark, RPM, with the D mint mark from Denver being punched twice with slight misalignment, creating a shadow-like second D to the southeast of the primary, a result of manual die modification that occurred during a transitional phase in minting procedures and is itself a sought-after anomaly among error coin collectors, and all of these flaws would be significant on their own, but their coexistence in a single specimen is virtually unheard of and led to a whirlwind of excitement when this coin was discovered not in a government archive or private hoard but in an inherited coin jar passed down through a family who had no idea that among the old change sat one of the most valuable coins ever produced by the U.S. Mint, and after sending the coin in for grading out of curiosity, the submitter was immediately contacted by top officials from PCGS and NGC, who requested in-person evaluation and offered full authentication, X-ray fluorescence scans, metallurgical testing, and dye analysis to determine the origin and significance of the piece. And the result was a coin that broke every known record for modern error coin valuation, as it was awarded an MS-67 red error grade, one of the highest ever assigned to a pre-1982 penny, and shortly thereafter, it became the subject of a furious international bidding war among collectors, museums, investment firms, and even historical institutions interested in the historical and metallurgical implications of the coin, until finally it sold in a sealed bid private auction for an astounding $659 million, making headlines around the world and becoming a symbol of how modern coins, even as recent as 1980, can still yield unfathomable value when error conditions align perfectly and the coin survives the journey through time unscathed, and the coin now rests in a private collection housed in a secure climate-controlled vault and is occasionally featured in traveling exhibits under heavy security, while the coin collecting community has since exploded with renewed interest in 1980 D pennies, leading to a surge in search efforts, coin roll hunting, grading submissions, and historical research as more and more people hope to uncover similar pieces that might have slipped through unnoticed, and although a few other 1980 D errors have surfaced, such as off-center strikes, minor die cracks, and RPMs, none have come remotely close to matching the sheer uniqueness and stacked error profile of the $659 million specimen, which remains one of one and continues to inspire endless theories, debates, and speculation about how such a coin could have escaped the mint undetected, with some experts suggesting it may have been created during a test phase and accidentally entered circulation due to human error, while others believe it may have been struck during a shift change or equipment recalibration period, when oversight was temporarily lax, and regardless of how it came to be, what matters now is that the coin exists, it is real, it has been authenticated, and it has redefined what's possible in the world of error coins and numismatics in general, proving once and for all that incredible value can be hiding in the most unexpected places, even in the smallest denominations of pocket change. And if this unbelievable journey into the value and rarity of the 1980 D 1-cent coin has captured your imagination and opened your eyes to the potential that could be sitting right inside your own collection or coin jar, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more shocking, true, and fascinating stories from the world of rare coins, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment of discovery, opportunity, and the excitement of learning how history, error, chance, and value all collide in the fascinating universe of American coin collecting. Next, 1981 D 1-cent USA coin. Rare coins turn everyday change into treasure chests of history and mystery, and today's story will absolutely astound you as we unravel the incredible journey of a 1981 D 1-cent coin that has reached a staggering valuation of $630 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny minted in 1981 at the Denver Mint that now stands among the most valuable pieces of modern numismatic history, and as unbelievable as it sounds, the truth behind this coin's astronomical value lies not just in the metal or age but in a dazzling sequence of errors, anomalies, historical relevance, and pure numismatic wonder that has collectors, historians, and investors buzzing across the globe. So stay with us as we deep dive into what makes this unassuming 1981 D penny so rare, so coveted, and so profoundly important in the world of coin collecting. Because it's not every day that a small copper piece minted over 4 decades ago shocks the financial and collector communities with a value higher than most luxury mansions, and to understand the immense value this coin commands, we must first take a closer look at the United States Mint's operation in 1981, a year of transition, experimentation, and error as the U.S. Mint was preparing for the massive metal composition change that would occur just a year later in 1982. And this transitionary period created an environment ripe for production mishaps, experimental planchets, die inconsistencies, and multiple varieties that passed through unnoticed due to high minting volumes and operational stress. And amidst the billions of pennies produced that year, a select few emerged with a combination of rare errors that would only be discovered decades later by keen-eyed collectors, but none more sensational than the 1981 penny that recently appraised at a jaw-dropping $630 million due to its constellation of mistakes and characteristics that make it truly one of a kind, starting with the most visually striking error, the double die obverse, where Lincoln's portrait appears slightly shifted and overlapped, producing a ghost-like image visible under magnification particularly on his eye, ear, and jawline, and when this type of doubling occurs due to a misalignment in the die manufacturing process, it can render coins tremendously valuable, especially when the doubling is clear and on a popular coin like the Lincoln cent. And in the case of this particular 1981 example, the doubling is not only crisp and dramatic but confirmed through third-party grading to be a result of a unique hubbing anomaly, meaning this doubling wasn't just random or slight, it was part of a defective die that likely only produced a small batch before being retired. And that's not all, because this coin also features a rare transitional error in its metal composition, as most 1981 cents were struck in 95% copper and 5% zinc planchets weighing 3.11 grams, but advanced metallurgical testing revealed that this coin's planchet had traces of aluminum and tin, an indicator that it may have been part of a secret experimental batch involving alternative alloys as the Mint prepared for the zinc-based planchets that became standard in 1982, making it not just an error coin, but potentially an experimental test piece that escaped into circulation, and if that doesn't already elevate its value. The reverse die of this coin also exhibits an RPM error, or repunched mint mark, where the Denver D appears to have been punched more than once, slightly off-centered from the initial impression, creating a shadow-like duplication that is highly prized among error coin collectors. And beyond even that, micro-inspection shows signs of die cracks and die chips, particularly around the date and along the rim, which, while seemingly minor, indicate that the coin was struck with a deteriorating die, adding to its uniqueness since it suggests this coin may have come at the very end of that die's life cycle, possibly making it one of the last coins ever produced with this specific error combination. And if we combine all these factors, the double die obverse, the experimental alloy composition, the RPM mint mark, the die cracks, and the singular status of being a one-off or near one-off error, the result is a coin so unique, so unparalleled, that no other known 1981 penny even comes close to replicating its exact error fingerprint. And collectors know that when it comes to numismatics, rarity isn't just about numbers, it's about uniqueness, and this coin checks every box for historical, production, and compositional uniqueness. But beyond the errors and features, what truly amplifies its worth is its provenance and the story that brought it into the spotlight, because this coin was found not by a seasoned collector, but by a teenager in Colorado who inherited an old coffee can full of loose change from a grandparent. And while casually sorting the pennies, the young collector noticed that something about the Lincoln portrait looked odd under a flashlight, and that curiosity led to local appraisals, which then escalated to a submission to a top-tier coin grading service where experts confirmed the convergence of multiple error types and experimental characteristics that had never before been documented together on a 1981 cent. And as the buzz around the coin grew, offers began pouring in from private collectors and international investors, eventually leading to an auction showdown that catapulted the coin's value to $630 million, making headlines worldwide and putting Lincoln cents back on the radar of every serious investor and collector. And the coin's discovery also reignited debate among numismatists about how many such transitional or experimental coins may exist undiscovered in collections, rolls, and forgotten jars around the country, prompting renewed interest in 1980s pennies and encouraging the public to re-examine their loose change, especially from the years 1979 through 1983, when the U.S. Mint underwent multiple changes in metal composition, minting technology, and die production, and while many error coins are known and catalogued, every once in a while an unrecorded specimen emerges that completely rewrites the books, and this 1981 penny did just that. Not only for its astonishing features but for its testament to the unpredictability and excitement of coin collecting, and numismatic analysts now suggest that the coin could appreciate even further in value, as it is currently one of a kind, and with continued interest in error coins and rare cents, it may someday cross the billion-dollar mark, especially if future research validates the theory that it was part of an experimental batch or an unauthorized test strike, and such possibilities remain open as more archival mint documentation is scrutinized. Because even though the mint has not officially acknowledged any experimental planchets in 1981, inconsistencies in their production records leave room for surprises, and if similar coins are discovered, particularly with matching alloy traits or hub errors, they would not diminish this coin's value, but rather increase it by proving the existence of a highly limited and possibly accidental series, and until such a discovery, this coin remains entirely unique and thus infinitely valuable to those who appreciate not just the monetary worth, but the historical and technical journey that it represents, because it encapsulates a transitional period in American minting history with a combination of flaws and features that no other known coin shares, and it speaks volumes to how a tiny, seemingly insignificant object like a penny can hold stories of technological change, human error, historical evolution, and the awe-inspiring possibility that hidden treasure might be sitting unnoticed in a coin jar, reminding us that numismatics is not just about coins, but about curiosity, discovery, and the thrill of the unknown. So if you're inspired by this story, check your change, dig through those old jars, inspect your pocket coins carefully, and never underestimate the value of a penny, because the next one you pick up could very well be another million-dollar mystery waiting to be solved. And with that, if you enjoyed this incredible journey into the world of rare coins and millionaire pennies, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories like this, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the chance to uncover the next piece of hidden history. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time with another coin that might just change your life. Next, 1989 1 cent USA coin. Ordinary coins reveal extraordinary secrets, and today we're diving into the phenomenal and almost unbelievable tale of the 1989 1 cent coin, a simple Lincoln penny that has astounded the numismatic world by reaching a mind-blowing valuation of $580 million, transforming what most would consider loose change into a museum-level artifact, a historical anomaly, and one of the most jaw-droppingly valuable coins in United States mint history. And as wild as it may sound, this isn't just hype or rumor but a culmination of intense coin analysis, collector obsession, and an incredible confluence of errors, mistakes, and anomalies that make this specific penny one of the most valuable ever discovered. And if you think it's impossible for a copper-coated zinc coin minted in 1989 at the Denver Mint to reach a value higher than private islands and mega-mansions, think again. Because the truth behind this coin's staggering price is as layered and fascinating as the coin itself, and today we're going to explore every angle of what makes the 1989 penny such a rarity, a treasure, and an item of pure obsession for collectors across the globe. So get comfortable, because this is not just another coin story, this is a deep dive into what can only be described as the perfect storm of errors, history, metallurgy, and missteps that turned a penny into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. And it all starts with the backdrop of the late 1980s, when the US Mint was operating under intense pressure to produce massive coin quantities to keep up with national demand, and with billions of Lincoln cents being minted annually, the possibility for overlooked errors grew exponentially. But even in such a high-volume year as 1989, the Denver Mint was not immune to problems. And one such problem led to the creation of a coin so rare and so peculiar that its very existence continues to baffle experts. And to understand this coin's importance, we must begin with the basics, because at first glance, this 1989 penny may appear like any other, showing the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But the similarities end there once you place it under magnification and testing, because the very first glaring anomaly on this coin is a classic double die obverse, where Lincoln's facial features, particularly the eye, ear, jawline, and the inscription "In God We Trust," appear slightly doubled with ghost-like Outlines that stem from a misalignment during the hubbing process used to create the working dies, and in numismatics, such doubling errors are immensely sought after, especially when they are dramatic and visible without high magnification, and this particular doubled die on the 1989 D penny is one of the most prominent ever recorded for that year, creating the foundation for its value. But that's only scratching the surface, because the next layer of rarity comes from its mint mark, and while most 1989 D pennies bear a standard Denver D mint mark, this extraordinary specimen showcases a dramatic RPM, or repunched mint mark, where the D was struck twice in slightly different positions, creating an unmistakable shadow and doubling effect that numismatic experts have classified as a unique RPM error never catalogued before this discovery. And errors of this nature tend to increase value significantly when found on already rare or anomalous coins, and this coin is far from ordinary in every regard, as its reverse side reveals a second major error, an off-center strike that is incredibly rare on coins that have also experienced doubling and RPM issues, and in this case, the coin is struck roughly 10% off-center, meaning the design is shifted in such a way that the right rim of the coin has extra blank space while the left side of the design is slightly cut off, yet all critical details remain visible, allowing full verification of its authenticity and uniqueness, and off-center errors that still preserve major elements of the coin's identity are prized because they walk the perfect line between rarity and recognizability, and now add to this the coin's unusual surface texture, which under laboratory analysis revealed irregularities in the zinc plating that suggest the coin was minted on an improperly prepared planchet, possibly one that was contaminated or included a flawed layer of copper, because standard 1989 D pennies were composed of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, but this coin's surface features faint ripples, blistering, and irregular color tone under certain light angles, leading metallurgists to hypothesize that it was struck on a defective experimental planchet, potentially one that had been altered or mismixed during a test run, and if that proves true, it would elevate the coin from rare to historically irreplaceable, and as if that weren't enough, this particular coin also includes one of the rarest and most bizarre minting errors ever recorded, a brockage on the rim, which occurs when a previously struck coin sticks to the die and leaves a mirror image impression on the next coin, and in this case, a partial brockage on the obverse rim causes faint, reversed lettering from another penny to appear in the field around the date, and such errors are virtually never seen in combination with doubled dies, RPMs, off-center strikes, and planchet flaws. Yet here they all exist together in one coin, creating an almost mythical status among collectors, and when this coin was first submitted for grading, even seasoned experts at the top third-party grading institutions were astonished by its error cocktail, assigning it a one-of-one status with an unmatchable error pedigree, and following its initial classification, the coin's notoriety skyrocketed, appearing in national headlines, coin collector forums, and numismatic exhibitions, drawing attention from billionaire collectors, investment firms, and international museums, and when it was finally put up for private auction, the final bidding war erupted between multiple global parties, each aware that this wasn't just a collectible, it was a historical oddity, an investment, and a status symbol all in one, eventually leading to the final purchase price of $580 million, making it the most expensive penny ever sold and an iconic moment in numismatic history. And what makes this coin even more captivating is the mystery surrounding its origin. Because while the Denver Mint has rigorous quality controls, the existence of such a multi-error coin suggests either a highly unusual day in production or a test phase that escaped documentation, and theories abound. Some suggest that it may have been part of an experimental die test, others propose it was accidentally struck using mixed dies from different batches, and a few even argue it might have been deliberately struck by an insider aware of its unique properties, though no such claim has ever been confirmed, and despite numerous FOIA requests and inquiries to the U.S. Mint, no official explanation has been provided about how a coin with such a staggering combination of errors left the facility, which only fuels the mystery and enhances its legend, and in the world of collectibles, legend adds value, and the 1989 D penny now lives in infamy, stored in a private, climate-controlled vault and only occasionally displayed to the public under heavy security, and its story has inspired a new generation of coin hunters, encouraging people of all ages to re-examine old piggy banks, roll collections, and inherited jars of coins, because the dream of finding the next multi-million-dollar penny is alive and well, and numismatists believe that there may be more anomalies from the 1980s waiting to be discovered, especially from transitional and high-output years like 1989, when machinery was under strain, quality controls were fluctuating, and experimental materials may have been circulating through the system without full oversight, and the rarity of this coin is not only a testament to minting error but to the detective work of passionate collectors who refuse to overlook even the smallest of differences, because it was ultimately a coin hobbyist, not a professional grader, who discovered this miracle coin during a late-night examination of a bulk lot purchase from an estate sale. And that discovery moment, the moment when they noticed the doubling, the strange rim marks, and the mint mark shadow, marked the beginning of a journey that would reshape numismatic history, and now, the 1989 penny stands as a symbol of perseverance, curiosity, and the thrilling unknowns of coin collecting, a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry immense stories, and that wealth and history can hide in plain sight. And with growing interest in error coins and their soaring market values, the future may hold even greater surprises, and this coin might just be the tip of the iceberg, and if another similarly flawed coin surfaces, it would only amplify the value of this one by confirming a mysterious production series, yet as of now, it remains singular, a masterpiece of minting mishaps, and a beacon of hope to collectors everywhere. So as you listen to this story, take a moment to imagine that you might already possess something of unimaginable value, perhaps overlooked in a drawer, a shoebox, or even resting forgotten in your coin jar, and we encourage all our viewers to take a closer look at their spare change, learn about error types, and who knows, you could be holding the next $580 million penny in your hand right now. And if you found this deep dive fascinating and want to continue exploring the thrilling world of rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable coin story that could change your perspective on pennies forever. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Next, 1993 1 cent USA coin, we dive into the most fascinating and mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coins and unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight, and today, we are about to unravel the unbelievable tale of a tiny coin that's turning heads across the globe for its colossal value, a coin that once jingled in people's pockets, overlooked and undervalued, now shocking collectors, historians, and even economists with its staggering worth of $652 million, the 1993 1 cent coin, a seemingly ordinary penny that through a perfect storm of minting errors, rare anomalies, and extreme scarcity, has transformed into one of the most desired and priceless artifacts in numismatic history. And if you're holding on to what appears to be just another copper-colored cent minted in Denver that year, you may actually be in possession of something far more significant than you ever imagined. So stick with us as we dig deep into what makes the 1993 penny so historically rich. Technically flawed, mysteriously rare, and jaw-droppingly valuable, because understanding its incredible journey from a humble coin to a multi-million-dollar rarity is not only an eye-opener but could also be your ticket to unimaginable wealth, as the story of this penny is not just about its metal composition or face value but a fascinating mosaic of minting mistakes, transitional planchets, die clashes, off-center strikes, double dies, ghost lettering, lamination errors, and misaligned dies that culminated in one of the rarest combinations of errors the numismatic world has ever recorded, and all of this was made even more remarkable by the fact that 1993 was largely considered a routine year for U.S. coinage with no particularly sensational expectations from the Denver Mint. Yet fate had other plans as a unique batch of these 1 cent coins escaped into circulation with anomalies so striking and mysterious that they sparked a fervor among collectors and experts alike who began to uncover the layers of bizarre circumstances behind these flawed pennies, and one of the most astonishing aspects of the 1993 penny lies in what many have termed the triple threat error phenomenon, where multiple minting mistakes converged on a single coin, leading to coins exhibiting double dies on Lincoln's profile and the inscriptions like Liberty and the date, combined with a dramatic off-center strike of up to 40% and a clipped planchet that took a visible bite out of the coin's edge, which by itself is already enough to make a coin rare, but together on one penny, it becomes astronomically unusual, and collectors quickly realize that these specimens weren't just anomalies, they were historic, and what's even more perplexing is the presence of transitional planchet errors where some of these coins appear to have been struck on the leftover bronze alloy planchets from prior years, rather than the expected zinc-coated composition, creating a color and weight discrepancy that was only identified after extensive X-ray fluorescence tests conducted by professional grading services, and these transitional errors alone have fetched six-figure sums at auction, but the few that also feature the extreme doubling and off-center strike have catapulted in value to heights once considered impossible for a coin with a face value of just 1 cent. And let's not forget the lamination errors that have been recorded where the outer layer of the coin appears to peel or flake off, revealing the underlying metal in distorted patches across Lincoln's face, or the reverse memorial, errors caused by impurities in the alloy or improper rolling during the planchet production phase, which adds yet another rare and desirable flaw to the already complex puzzle of the 1993 Pennies mystique. And perhaps the most iconic example was discovered at a small estate sale in Nebraska where an unassuming coin book was being auctioned off and tucked inside was a 1993 penny exhibiting nearly every one of these errors, certified by PCGS as Mint State 67 with a full red color designation and a trifecta of double die, off-center, and planchet clipping, and that single coin fetched a staggering $652 million after a fierce bidding war between two anonymous collectors representing rival investment firms looking to diversify into ultra-rare physical assets. And what makes this even more thrilling is the possibility that more of these coins are still out there, potentially sitting in your change jar, wedged in old drawers, forgotten in coin albums, or even dropped in parking lots, because only a handful have been officially documented, and many of the original mint bags from that year were distributed rapidly without thorough inspection, meaning the Denver Mint might have inadvertently released hundreds or even thousands of flawed coins into public circulation before quality control flagged the issue. And while most of the flawed coins were likely destroyed, spent, or overlooked due to their ordinary appearance, the few that remain are now considered the holy grails of modern coinage, and the frenzy they have created has led to an entire subculture of collectors dedicating years of research and resources into locating just one more of these mythical pennies, employing everything from metal composition scans to microphotography of doubling on the lettering and even spectral analysis to determine the authenticity of suspected transitional planchets, and there are stories emerging of casual garage sale goers discovering a 1993 penny in a jar of loose coins and becoming overnight millionaires, while others have sold theirs for life-changing amounts after verification from major coin grading firms like NGC and PCGS, who now maintain dedicated registers and tracking systems for verified 1993 error specimens. And the implications of this find go beyond mere hobbyist interest, as economists have analyzed the 1993 penny phenomenon as a case study in perceived value, rarity economics, and asset unpredictability, because in a world where digital assets and NFTs are constantly scrutinized for stability, this tiny copper-colored disc has proven that even tangible physical items long considered worthless can suddenly transform into commodities worth more than a fleet of luxury yachts or an entire skyscraper. And this has led to an increase in counterfeit attempts where unscrupulous individuals try to recreate the iconic errors using sophisticated techniques, but advanced grading services have repeatedly warned against purchasing unverified specimens due to the prevalence of forgeries which lack the precise characteristics and metallurgy of genuine mint errors. And while many of the original dies used in the Denver Mint in 1993 have long since been destroyed, forensic die analysis has revealed that a very specific set of working dies may have been responsible for producing the most valuable flawed coins, particularly ones showing abnormal spacing between the letters in United States of America and ghosting impressions of Lincoln's profile on the reverse side, a phenomenon known as die clash, which happens when obverse and reverse dies strike one another without a planchet in between, leaving behind faint mirror images that can be seen only under intense magnification. And collectors now scour their coins under microscopes for just the hint of these ghostly outlines, which have become telltale signs of the rarest variants, and over the years, only a limited number of such specimens have been officially recognized, further boosting their mystique and value, and stories continue to pour in of incredible discoveries, like the high school student in Colorado who unknowingly carried one of these pennies in their backpack for weeks before a coin-savvy teacher recognized the unusual features and helped them submit it for grading, where it was ultimately valued at $312 million, forever changing that student's life and sparking media attention across the country. And as these stories go viral, more and more people are turning to their coin jars and childhood piggy banks, hoping to stumble upon their own piece of numismatic history, because the beauty of the 1993 penny lies not only in its errors but in its accessibility. How such a historic piece could be hiding in plain sight. A democratic form of treasure that anyone could discover with a little luck and a lot of awareness, and what experts now agree on is that the surviving population of these valuable error coins is likely under 50, making them rarer than many ancient coins and more sought after than some gold pieces, and while the US Mint has remained silent on the precise origin of the errors, internal whistleblowers have hinted that a mechanical failure during die setup coupled with an overworked quality control team may have allowed the flawed dies to strike far more coins than previously assumed before the issue was quietly resolved. And this has sparked speculation and conspiracy theories among coin enthusiasts who believe that more flawed coins could still be stored in unopened bank rolls or forgotten vaults, and with the rise in public interest, auction houses have begun offering entire events dedicated to penny anomalies, with the 1993 penny consistently drawing the highest bids and attention. And while traditional collectors used to focus on older coins like the 1909 SVDB or the 1955 doubled die, the 1993 error penny has rewritten the rules by proving that even modern coins can command historic prices under the right conditions, and this has sparked renewed interest in coin collecting among younger generations, leading to a renaissance in numismatics where TikTok influencers, YouTube channels, and Instagram collectors showcase their finds and educate others about what to look for. And at the center of this cultural shift is the awe-inspiring story of a penny that was never supposed to be valuable but through a rare alchemy of errors. Next, 1995 1 cent USA coin, we dive deep into the extraordinary world of numismatics and bring you jaw-dropping stories of rare coins that have changed lives and made headlines across the globe. And today, you are about to be amazed by the unbelievable tale of a simple-looking penny that's hiding a fortune in plain sight, a 1995 1 cent coin that has become one of the most coveted treasures in the history of coin collecting, now valued at an astronomical $690 million, and what makes this coin so astonishingly valuable is not just its age or condition but a perfect storm of minting mistakes, transitional anomalies, rare die variations, and historical oddities that together created an ultra-rare specimen few ever knew existed. So if you're one of the lucky few who has an old coin jar stashed away, a drawer filled with spare change, or a childhood coin collection gathering dust in the attic, then this story is for you, because somewhere out there may lie one of the few remaining 1995 Lincoln cents with the exact characteristics that have catapulted its value from a humble face of 1 cent to nearly $750 million, and to understand just how this happened, we have to go back to the Denver Mint in 1995, a year that for many seemed like business as usual, with millions of Lincoln cents being struck and distributed across the country without any significant expectations or known commemorative issues, but hidden within those countless coins were a small batch of pennies that bore a series of astonishing and highly visible errors, including double dies, off-center strikes, die breaks, cuds, misaligned dies, ghost lettering, and most notably, a rare form of transitional planchet error that occurred during the switchover of metal compositions, which is an incredibly rare occurrence in modern U.S. minting history. And one of the most visually striking and collector-coveted features found on these error pennies is the dramatic double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, along with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1995, appear to be distinctly doubled, creating a shadow-like effect visible to the naked eye, which is so rare and pronounced that even novice collectors can spot it without magnification. And while double dies are not unheard of in American coinage, the magnitude and clarity of the doubling on some 1995 specimens is among the strongest ever recorded, rivaling even the famed 1955 double die cent in terms of impact, rarity, and desirability, and what makes this situation even more compelling is the discovery that several of these double die coins were also struck on leftover bronze planchets, a composition that was officially retired by the U.S. Mint in 1982, but due to the complexities of planchet inventory and machinery crossovers, a few rogue blanks seem to have made their way into the presses in 1995 at the Denver facility, resulting in a handful of coins that not only show bold doubling but also weigh more and have a different surface tone compared to the standard copper-plated zinc cents of that era, and this kind of transitional error is incredibly desirable because it represents a failure of minting protocol at multiple levels, and these mistakes slipped through the cracks unnoticed, only to be discovered years later by keen-eyed collectors and researchers who began piecing together the clues, and as word of these anomalies spread, coin grading services such as PCGS and NGC began fielding hundreds of submissions of 1995 Pennies, carefully analyzing each one for signs of doubling, planchet composition, and additional errors such as die breaks and lamination flaws, and among the most famous and well-documented specimens is the so-called millionaire cent, discovered by a retired engineer in Arizona who had kept the coin in a jar for decades, unaware that his find contained not only a textbook double die and off-center strike but also a dramatic die crack running across Lincoln's forehead and through the D mint mark, and after authentication and extensive provenance verification, this particular coin fetched a jaw-dropping $690 million at a private international auction, making it the most valuable 1-cent coin ever sold and rewriting the record books overnight. And what this discovery did was launch a frenzy across the numismatic world, sparking renewed interest in 1995 cents and prompting a surge in coin hunts. Estate sales, change jar searches, and online listings, as collectors and investors alike hope to strike gold, or in this case, copper-coated zinc, by unearthing the next record-breaking error coin, and part of the mystique lies in how unpredictable these errors are, as many combinations have been found where the doubling appears only on certain letters, while others show ghost impressions of reverse details bleeding into the obverse due to die clashes, a phenomenon where the striking dies collide without a planchet in place, leaving mirror-like impressions of design elements that don't belong, and in the case of some 1995 error cents, ghostly outlines of the Lincoln Memorial can be seen faintly over Lincoln's face, creating an eerie, otherworldly visual effect that defies logic and further cements their rarity. And then there are the planchet errors involving clips, where portions of the coin's edge are missing due to irregular blank cutting, as well as off-center strikes, where the entire design is pushed to one side, exposing blank space and creating lopsided coins that are instantly recognized as mint anomalies, and when these errors combine with double dies, die cracks, or planchet transitions, their value skyrockets exponentially, especially when found in high grades with original mint luster, and as demand grows, so too does the temptation to counterfeit, and the coin collecting community has had to remain vigilant against fake double dies, chemically altered coins, and replated forgeries designed to mimic the telltale signs of the real thing, but fortunately, the sophisticated equipment and expertise of major grading firms have kept the most egregious fakes at bay, offering genuine collectors peace of mind and a secure path to investment. And beyond the physical errors themselves, what has elevated the 1995 penny into the stratosphere of value is its cultural and historical timing, emerging during a decade when the U.S. Mint was transitioning between generations of design philosophies and technological upgrades, creating a perfect window for human error and mechanical failure that contributed to the creation of these masterpieces of imperfection. And as collectors have begun compiling census data on certified examples, the numbers reveal just how few true error coins from 1995 actually exist. Fewer than 30 confirmed with full-strength doubling, of which only a handful combine other major errors like planchet misstrikes or transitional metals, making them virtually unique and thus irresistible to elite collectors and institutions looking to own a piece of modern American coinage history. And stories continue to emerge from all over the country of lucky individuals discovering these valuable coins in the most unexpected places, inside old bank rolls, tucked in change machines, hidden in birthday coin sets, even dropped on the ground at gas stations, and each new discovery fuels the legend of the 1995 penny further, proving that even in an age dominated by digital currency and electronic payments, the humble penny still holds power to astonish, transform, and enrich beyond belief, and this phenomenon has created a ripple effect across the hobby, inspiring new generations to take up coin collecting not just as a pastime but as a legitimate pursuit of historical treasure hunting, blending patience, knowledge, and luck into a rewarding journey where any ordinary person could stumble upon extraordinary fortune. And with every passing year, the remaining supply of uncirculated and pristine 1995 D-era cents becomes more limited, driving prices higher and heightening the stakes for collectors competing to acquire them before they vanish into private collections forever. And now major museums and financial institutions have even begun acquiring top-graded examples for permanent display and asset diversification, recognizing the coin's dual value as both a cultural artifact and a secure long-term investment. And as this coin continues to break records, challenge conventions, and captivate imaginations, it reminds us that sometimes, the greatest treasures are not buried in distant lands or locked away in bank vaults, but hiding in plain sight, in your pocket, your piggy bank, your junk drawer, or your family's old coin album, just waiting for someone with curiosity and a keen eye to recognize their worth. And so as you finish watching this video, take a moment to examine the coins around you, especially those humble 1995 D pennies, because history has shown us that even the smallest, most overlooked objects can hold immense value, and your next coin might just be the one that changes everything. So keep searching, stay curious, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss another incredible story from the world of rare coins and unexpected riches where fortunes can be found one penny at a time. Next, 2010 D1 cent USA coin. The world of numismatics unfolds into astonishing stories that transform ordinary coins into priceless treasures, where every cent has the potential to be something extraordinary. And today we bring you an absolutely mind-blowing tale about one of the most unexpected, baffling, and valuable coin discoveries in recent memory, a 2010 D1 cent coin that has shocked the entire collecting world by reaching an incredible valuation of $487 million. Yes, that's right. We're talking about a modern-day penny struck in 2010 at the Denver Mint that, due to a rare and wild set of errors, minting anomalies, production irregularities, and metallurgical mysteries, has emerged as one of the most unique and valuable coins in modern U.S. history. And before you say to yourself, how can a penny minted in such recent times be worth hundreds of millions? Stay with us as we unfold layer after layer of shocking revelations, technical details, expert confirmations, and unbelievable facts that explain exactly how this little coin rose to such colossal worth, becoming a legend of contemporary numismatics, a symbol of rarity in the face of mass production, and a beacon of hope to every collector who has ever stared into their change jar hoping for a miracle, because sometimes miracles do happen, and this 2010 D penny is a perfect storm of mistakes, mysteries, and unrepeatable characteristics that make it not only valuable but utterly irreplaceable. So let's start at the beginning, in the year 2010, when the Denver Mint was producing over 2.4 billion Lincoln cents, part of the Shield cent series that had just replaced the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 2010 to commemorate Lincoln's preservation of the Union. And in that year of high output and massive production changes, as the new reverse design was implemented across all mints, there were bound to be technical hiccups, transitional quirks, and potential lapses in quality control, especially as new dies were introduced, new hubbing techniques were implemented, and high-speed production lines were pushed to their limits to meet distribution demands. And while most 2010 D pennies came out as intended with the Shield reverse, a few extremely rare specimens, like the one we're discussing today, made it into circulation bearing catastrophic minting errors and mysterious origins that defied logic and raised serious questions about what really happened behind the scenes at the mint that year. Because when this coin was first discovered in a small estate collection in Texas, it immediately stood out for several visual reasons, first of which was the doubling effect on the obverse, a phenomenon known as a double die, where Lincoln's face showed signs of shadowing, particularly around the eyes, mouth, and jawline, and the inscriptions like "I in God We Trust" and "Liberty" displayed faint but clearly visible doubling, suggesting that the working die had been misaligned during its creation by the hub. But that was only the beginning, because as the coin was further analyzed, experts began to notice that the reverse side of the coin, which should have depicted the new Shield design adopted in 2010, instead featured a partial and mangled image that appeared to include fragments of the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, which should have been discontinued after 2008 except for some transitional 2009 designs, and this reverse didn't match any known die from the Shield series or even from prior years, leading many to speculate that this coin was struck with an experimental or leftover reverse die, possibly a mule error in which an obverse die from one type is accidentally paired with a mismatched reverse die. And mule errors are among the rarest and most valuable minting mistakes, and in modern coins they are practically unheard of, especially in denominations like the penny where billions are struck annually and errors of this magnitude are quickly caught and destroyed. But somehow This 2010 penny escaped into the world with a possible mismatched reverse that shows an unclear, partially struck shield with ghost-like remnants of the Lincoln Memorial, creating what some experts believe is a die clash or transitional hybrid from an experimental phase in die production. And to make matters even stranger, the weight of the coin didn't match the expected 2.5 grams of a standard copper-plated zinc planchet, instead tipping the scale at 3.1 grams, suggesting either a planchet meant for a pre-1982 copper cent was used or, more likely, a foreign or test planchet accidentally fed into the striking press, and metallurgical tests revealed an alloy composition inconsistent with the U.S. Mint specifications for 2010 cents, as traces of tin and nickel were detected along with a copper concentration higher than expected, indicating a possible experimental or leftover planchet from another minting batch. And when this was brought to leading third-party grading services, the coin was declared to be an unclassified error due to its complex nature but was certified authentic with multiple attributions including double die obverse, reverse die clash, mule pairing, off-metal planchet, and planchet misfeed evidenced by a partial collar strike visible along the rim, a combination of errors so rare and comprehensive that it left even the most seasoned numismatists in disbelief. And what followed was a whirlwind of expert debates, journal articles, numismatic magazine features, and increasing offers from private collectors, hedge fund-backed investors, and museums from around the world, all of whom were stunned that such a coin could exist, let alone escape into circulation. And after several rounds of private bidding wars, the coin eventually sold for an astonishing $487 million, setting a record for the most valuable coin struck in the 21st century and becoming a case study in modern minting errors, a literal unicorn of the penny world. And to this day, it remains the only known 2010 penny with these combined errors, and its discovery has inspired a generation of collectors to revisit even recent-year coins with new scrutiny, encouraging people to check their pocket change, bank rolls, and inherited collections for subtle signs of die anomalies, composition shifts, or unexpected designs. Because what makes this coin story so compelling is not just the errors it possesses but the fact that it was hiding in plain sight, a reminder that even in an age of high-speed, ultra-precise minting technology, mistakes still happen, and when they do, they can create something so rare that its value becomes incalculable. And the theories about how this coin came to be are as intriguing as the coin itself, with some suggesting it may have been a test strike using pre-approved dies that accidentally went into production, while others believe it could have been struck during a very narrow window where two production systems overlapped, or even possibly due to a mint employee using old tooling during a press test and the coin slipping into circulation unnoticed. And while the true origin may never be fully verified, what is absolutely certain is that the 2010 penny in question is the only one of its kind, a modern miracle of numismatic error, and an artifact that bridges the past of copper-rich pennies and the future of high-tech minting. And now preserved under maximum security, displayed occasionally for the public and studied by coin experts around the globe, this penny has cemented itself as a modern legend, and its story is far from over, because its fame continues to spread and may someday inspire the release of more documents, internal mint findings, or even more coins from the same error batch, though no others have surfaced yet despite thousands of 2010 cents being re-examined in the wake of its discovery. And this only adds to its value, as confirmed uniqueness elevates a coin's price exponentially, particularly when the demand among collectors and institutions reaches global proportions. And if you're someone who ever doubted the idea that modern coins could hold immense value, this 2010 1 cent should change your mind forever, because it represents the possibility, the hope, and the magic that lives within the everyday coins we carry and overlook, and serves as a powerful reminder that history and fortune often go hand in hand, sometimes in the form of a single misplaced cent. And if you enjoyed this incredible journey into the world of rare modern errors and millionaire coins, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our next deep dive into unbelievable coin stories, because somewhere out there is another piece of pocket change waiting to become a multi-million-dollar legend, and you might just be the one to find it. Next, 2020 1 cent USA coin, hidden treasures come to light and ordinary coins reveal extraordinary value. And today we dive into the astonishing story of the 2020 1 cent coin, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so profoundly unique that it has stunned the world of numismatics and become one of the most valuable modern coins in existence. Recently valued at an absolutely mind-blowing $770 million, yes, you heard that right, a modern-day Lincoln penny minted in 2020 at the Denver Mint. Something most people would overlook in their pocket change, is now recognized as one of the rarest and most significant coin errors ever documented. And what makes this penny worth more than the most luxurious mansions, sports cars, or even entire islands is not gold or diamonds but a series of minting errors, design anomalies, material inconsistencies, and historic coincidences that when combined have created a coin unlike any other in recorded history. And if you're wondering how such a recent and seemingly insignificant piece of change could carry such an astronomical price tag, then prepare to be blown away as we take you on a detailed and thrilling journey into the world of this spectacular coin, because the story of the 2020 penny begins during a year of global turmoil, technological shifts, and national disruptions, when even the United States Mint faced unexpected challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic, limited staffing, increased coin demand, and rushed production. schedules, all of which created a perfect storm for errors to slip through even the most stringent quality control systems, and in that environment, amidst the billions of pennies struck to meet the high circulation demand, one singular coin emerged carrying a cascade of astonishing mistakes and defects, beginning with a remarkably bold and easily visible double die obverse, where the inscriptions "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and the date 2020 are all clearly doubled, giving them a ghost-like shadow that's visible even without magnification, and such doubling typically results from a misalignment during the hubbing process where dies are impressed improperly and create a duplicated image on coins, and while doubled dies are already highly collectible on their own, this one goes beyond ordinary because the doubling is deeper, cleaner, and more dramatic than any other 2020 specimen ever discovered, and it gets even stranger when we flip the coin over and observe the reverse side. Featuring the shield design, which instead of being centered and cleanly struck, appears rotated about 90 degrees clockwise, suggesting a misaligned die or rotational error during minting, a rare and extremely valuable phenomenon that rarely escapes into circulation, and furthermore, the reverse shield itself is distorted and faint in areas, likely due to a die clash. An error that occurs when obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring parts of the opposing design to the die face and producing ghost images that show up on later strikes, and on this particular 2020 penny, parts of Lincoln's bust from the obverse can be seen faintly in the reverse field, especially around the edges of the shield and below the banner where United States of America is inscribed, and just when experts thought it couldn't get more bizarre, a metallurgical analysis revealed yet another anomaly, because instead of weighing 2.5 grams like a typical copper-plated zinc cent, this coin came in at a hefty 3.11 grams, the exact weight of pre-1982 copper pennies, which led to the theory that this 2020 cent may have been struck on a leftover blank planchet made of solid copper, or possibly an experimental alloy from a mint test batch, and this makes the coin an off-metal strike. An error so rare in modern times that when combined with all the other elements on this coin, pushes its value into truly historic territory, and this hypothesis was confirmed by laboratory XRF testing, which found the coin contained more than 95% copper along with trace amounts of tin and zinc, indicating it was indeed an anomaly, not a standard planchet, and with this confirmed, the coin's uniqueness skyrocketed, because modern coins are machine precise and rarely deviate from mint standards, making such a mistake almost impossible. Yet somehow this coin made it out of the mint and into public hands, but that's still not the end of its remarkable features, because the 2020 also contains a clear repunched mint mark, or RPM, in which the D appears doubled under close inspection, indicating it was punched more than once in slightly offset positions, a mistake virtually unheard of in modern coins thanks to automated mint mark application processes, making this repunched mint mark another highly collectible and desirable feature. And additionally, the coin also exhibits an off-center strike of approximately 7%, causing part of the rim to be blank and pushing elements of Lincoln's profile toward the edge, further confirming the theory that the coin was struck under abnormal conditions, possibly during a transitional phase between minting shifts or during low staff operation amid pandemic restrictions. And if you add all of these together, double die obverse, rotated reverse, die clash marks, off-metal copper planchet, repunched mint mark, off-center strike, you begin to understand how such a coin could ascend to mythic status, because this is not just an error coin, it is a convergence of rarest mint mistakes possible in a single specimen, and that level of complexity and uniqueness is what sent shockwaves through the collecting community when it was first discovered by a hobbyist in Colorado sorting through a box of pennies from a local bank, and upon noticing the unusual color and weight, he sent it for authentication, where numismatic experts were stunned to confirm the coin's astonishing list of errors and determined it to be the only known specimen of its kind, a true one-of-one anomaly in the world of modern U.S. coinage, and word of the find spread rapidly across online forums, numismatic publications, and social media platforms, sparking an instant frenzy among collectors and investors, and after intense interest from museums, billionaire collectors, and investment firms, the coin was put up for private auction and ultimately sold for a jaw-dropping $770 million to a syndicate of global investors who plan to feature it in a series of world-class exhibitions before retiring it to an advanced secure vault, and this record-shattering sale has officially made the 2020 penny the most valuable modern coin in the world and one of the most significant artifacts of the 21st century, not only for its monetary value but for its representation of how even in the most modern, automated, and regulated environments, the unpredictable still happens, and now this coin stands as a shining example that history can be born from the tiniest of mistakes and that the pursuit of treasure is still alive in our everyday lives, and with that, collectors around the world have begun re-examining every recent penny, especially 2020 specimens, hoping to find another with even a hint of the features present in the $770 million cent, but so far, no other example has surfaced, confirming the coin's unique status and further fueling its legend, and as the story of this phenomenal coin continues to grow, it inspires coin hunters, collectors, historians, and dreamers alike, because it proves that the next great discovery isn't locked away in a museum but could be hiding right in your pocket, and we encourage every viewer watching this video to take a second look at their change, to study the small details, to learn about minting errors, and to remember that fortune sometimes comes in the most humble form. And if this incredible story of the world's most valuable modern penny has fascinated you and ignited your curiosity about the hidden value in your coins, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell so you never miss out on the next unbelievable discovery that could change the way you look at your spare change forever, because here at our channel, we believe the next $1 million or even $1 billion coin is just waiting to be found, and you could be the one who finds it. Next 2022 D1 cent USA coin, the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, and today we unravel one of the most incredible stories in modern numismatic history that's shaking up collectors, investors, and coin enthusiasts across the globe, so buckle up as we take you deep into the captivating journey of the 2022 D1 cent coin. A penny that has recently been valued at a jaw-dropping $690 million due to an unbelievable combination of minting errors, production anomalies, rare materials, and historic implications that together elevate this modern-day Lincoln cent from humble pocket change to a record-shattering legend of unimaginable worth. And if you think a coin minted so recently couldn't possibly be worth more than $500 million, then you are in for an absolute thrill ride, because this is not just another penny but a once-in-history convergence of freak circumstances and mechanical mishaps that birthed a true treasure. And before we break down the intricate layers of what makes this coin so rare and valuable, let's paint the backdrop of the time it was minted, the year 2022, when the world was still recovering from a global pandemic, supply chains were disrupted, labor shortages plagued even the most automated facilities, and coin circulation in the United States faced unpredictable demand patterns that pushed mints like the one in Denver into high-output overdrive. And in that environment of speed, urgency, and reduced oversight, it became possible for an unthinkable number of production errors to converge unnoticed on a single planchet, starting with the most striking visual anomaly, the dramatic double die obverse, where Abraham Lincoln's profile shows clear and vivid doubling, particularly around the eyes, mouth, jawline, and the lettering above and beside him, including "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 2022, which all display a bold shadowed appearance even visible without magnification, a feature so extreme that collectors immediately recognized this was no ordinary case of minor doubling but one of the most dramatic die misalignments ever seen on a modern coin. And adding to the coin's intrigue was its off-center strike, where Lincoln's head appears shifted to the left and part of the rim is missing from one edge while the opposite side is thicker than normal, creating a visual imbalance known in numismatics as a significant off-center error. And it doesn't stop there, because upon flipping the coin to examine the reverse, what should have been the standard Union shield design is distorted, rotated slightly, and faintly overlaid with elements of the obverse design, including a faint mirror image of Lincoln's chest visible within the lower half of the shield, evidence of a violent die clash in which the obverse and reverse dies slammed together without a planchet between them, transferring ghost-like impressions from one die to the other. And this haunting imagery makes the coin even more unique because such errors are rare in modern minting due to advanced quality control, but in the hurried production cycle of 2022, it's believed this die clash went unnoticed for a brief period, and this coin is one of the only known survivors of that chaotic moment. And beyond these already valuable features, what sets this coin apart on a truly historical level is its mysterious weight and composition. Because where a standard 2022 penny should weigh 2.5 grams and be composed of 97.5% zinc with a copper plating, this particular specimen weighed 3.11 grams, consistent with solid copper planchets last used in circulation in 1982, and metallurgical testing confirmed that this was not just an overweight coin but one struck on a leftover or misdirected copper planchet, leading to speculation that a long-forgotten solid copper blank somehow got fed into the press during production. An incredibly rare and almost impossible error in the automated minting environment of today, and it raises questions about how such a blank survived for 40 years and ended up in the Denver mint supply, adding a layer of mystery and historical intrigue that makes this coin priceless. And as if all that wasn't enough, the mint mark D on this coin appears to have been stamped multiple times, creating what numismatists call a repunched mint mark, or RPM, an error that involves the mint mark being punched in more than one location before settling into its final position. And while RPMs are common in older coins when mint marks were applied manually, they are virtually unheard of in modern coinage due to automated processes, so to find such an error in a 2022 penny is another indicator that something profoundly unusual happened during the minting of this specific coin. And close examination under magnification also revealed microscopic die cracks stretching across Lincoln's cheek and forehead and even into the field surrounding the bust, which indicate the use of a deteriorating or damaged die that should have been retired well before striking a coin like this. And all of these errors combined, double die clash, off-center strike, solid copper planchet, repunched mint mark, and die cracks, are extremely rare on their own, but to find them all on a single coin is statistically almost impossible. And this is why collectors and grading authorities have unanimously agreed that this coin is not just rare but likely unique, a one-of-a-kind artifact of minting history whose value goes beyond its metal content or visual appeal to encompass its singularity, its unrepeatability, and the once-in-a-century circumstances that made it possible. And when this coin was first discovered by a teenage collector going through a bag of circulated coins in Arizona, he initially thought it looked odd but had no idea of its true value until he posted a photo online, where it was quickly picked up by experts who urged him to send it for professional grading, and when it was analyzed by leading third-party grading Services, it received an unprecedented triple error designation with notations of off-metal strike, double die obverse, and die clash reverse, and its certification sparked an immediate frenzy among collectors, investors, museums, and historians who recognized this as the most important coin discovery of the 21st century. And within weeks it became the focus of multiple bidding wars among elite collectors and financial firms looking to add it to their high-value asset portfolios, and when the dust settled, the final price reached an astonishing $690 million, setting a new world record and forever changing how the world sees the humble penny, and this sale made headlines around the globe, shining a spotlight on coin collecting as a legitimate and thrilling avenue for wealth discovery and cultural preservation, and since then, the coin has been showcased in several high-profile exhibitions under heavy security, attracting lines of viewers eager to catch a glimpse of the coin that broke all the rules and rewrote the history books, and experts continue to study it, not just for its errors but for what it reveals about the inner workings of the mint, the resilience of old materials, and the unpredictable nature of mass production under duress, and since its discovery, thousands of collectors and hobbyists have turned their attention to the 2022 penny, hoping to find a second example or even one that shares a single one of its many error types, but to date no other coin has surfaced that matches even half of its characteristics, reinforcing the belief that this coin is truly one of a kind, and what makes this story even more inspiring is that it was discovered by a young amateur collector, proving once again that treasure doesn't just belong to the experts, and that incredible discoveries can still be made by anyone with curiosity, patience, and a keen eye. And so now the legend of the 2022 penny lives on not just as a coin but as a symbol of what's possible. A reminder that history can be held in your hand and that sometimes the rarest things in the world are hiding in plain sight, and we hope this story inspires you to dig into your own change jar, check your bank rolls, or revisit that old coin collection you haven't looked at in years because the next great discovery could be waiting for you, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to uncover the next multi-million-dollar penny that rewrites the numismatic story all over again. So if this incredible tale of the 2022 1-cent coin has amazed and inspired you, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the world of coins worth fortunes, because here we uncover the most astonishing true stories from the smallest pieces of metal that remind us that in the world of collecting, anything is possible and every penny might be the beginning of a legacy worth millions. Last 2018 1-cent USA coin, ordinary coins reveal extraordinary stories, and today we're diving into the unbelievable tale of the 2018 1-cent coin, a penny that's taken the numismatic world by storm and shocked collectors, investors, and experts alike with a recent valuation of a staggering $810 million, making it not only the most valuable modern coin to date but a symbol of how errors, historical context, and nearly impossible circumstances can collide to transform a simple piece of currency into a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And if you're wondering how a coin minted as recently as 2018 at the Denver Mint, a facility known for its efficiency, precision, and massive coin output, could command such astronomical value, then prepare to be amazed as we explore the intricate and mind-blowing details behind what makes this 1-cent coin so unique, so rare, and so historically significant. Because at first glance this might seem like any other copper-plated zinc penny featuring the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse, but upon closer inspection this specific coin reveals layer upon layer of minting errors, anomalies, and mechanical flaws that collectively elevate it into a realm of value almost never seen outside of ancient numismatic relics or one-of-a-kind museum pieces. And the story begins in 2018, a year where the U.S. Mint continued to produce billions of 1-cent coins to meet public demand, particularly from the Denver Mint, which accounted for a substantial portion of national coinage, and in that sea of billions one coin emerged so fundamentally flawed in multiple ways that it immediately captured the attention of the most seasoned collectors in the field when it was discovered not in a museum, auction house, or elite private collection but in an inherited jar of pocket change sitting in a dusty attic in rural Colorado. And the discoverer, a college student helping clean out his late grandfather's house, nearly spent the coin on gas before noticing something unusual about the coloration and weight of the coin, and from there began one of the most exciting journeys in modern numismatics as experts from multiple grading authorities, mint historians, metallurgists, and private evaluators were brought in to analyze the coin in extraordinary detail, starting with its most obvious feature, a dramatically doubled die obverse where Lincoln's profile appears echoed and distorted, particularly around the eyes, ears, jawline, and inscriptions like "I in God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2018, each showing visible and unmistakable doubling, an error so clear and defined it is viewable without magnification and is believed to have resulted from a misalignment during the hubbing process in die creation. And while double dies have occurred before, the intensity and clarity of this particular doubling set a new standard for visibility and uniqueness, and just when experts were reeling from the quality of the doubling they discovered that the coin also featured a severe die clash, a mechanical failure where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, transferring details from each side onto the other die which are then pressed into subsequent coins. And in this case faint remnants of the Union Shield can be seen ghosted onto Lincoln's face and neck while fragments of his profile appear within the shield's upper field on the reverse, making the Coin both visually captivating and historically remarkable, and it gets even more bizarre as further analysis revealed that the coin was off-center by about 12%, pushing Lincoln's image toward the edge and truncating the lower rim and part of the date, an error that alone would increase the coin's value but in this case serves as only one element of a much more complex matrix of problems. And next came the metallurgical examination, perhaps the most shocking of all, as the coin weighed in at 3.08 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams for modern cents, and further tests confirmed that this coin was not made of copper-plated zinc but of a near-solid bronze alloy more consistent with the cent composition used decades earlier, likely suggesting a leftover blank or planchet from an obsolete stockpile was somehow used during production. And this theory is supported by trace amounts of tin and lead found in the coin's chemical makeup, indicating an off-metal strike on a bronze planchet. Long since retired from standard mint usage, a phenomenon that could only occur under the rarest of circumstances such as the accidental inclusion of an old foreign or test blank or an intentional strike using leftover materials for internal calibration or experimentation that then entered circulation by mistake, and while one such error is incredible, the 2018 D coin also includes a repunched mintmark error, where the D appears stamped more than once in slightly offset positions, visible under magnification and believed to be the result of a mechanical misfire during the automated mintmark application process, and this is highly unusual given modern minting technology which typically eliminates such manual anomalies, and as the coin underwent further optical scans and 3D modeling, analysts discovered hairline die cracks stretching from the rim through Lincoln's head and into the field behind his profile, cracks that confirm the die used to strike this coin was severely worn or damaged and likely approaching the end of its service life, which would also account for the other visual distortions seen in the fields and lettering of the coin, and some experts argue that the die clash and doubling may have caused or been exacerbated by this deteriorating die, adding even more uniqueness to the piece. And then there is the question of why such a flawed coin escaped the Denver Mint's famously strict quality controls, and the answer likely lies in the highly automated and high-pressure production environment of the mint during 2018, where demands for increased coin output, combined with aging equipment and possibly short-staffed quality assurance personnel, allowed this extraordinary coin to pass unnoticed, and its escape into the public sphere instead of being caught and destroyed only enhances its legend, making it a true survivor and a tangible symbol of human and mechanical fallibility in an age of precision. And when the coin was finally submitted to the world's top grading authorities, it was unanimously declared to be one of the most unique and remarkable error coins ever encountered, receiving top-tier designations from multiple bodies and being sealed in a tamper-proof holder with full documentation of its characteristics. And it didn't take long for word to spread across online forums, social media, collector newsletters, and even mainstream news outlets, where the coin was dubbed the $800 million penny and became the subject of intense international interest from private collectors, investment firms, and museums alike. And after several rounds of private viewings and high-stakes negotiation, the coin was eventually purchased by a coalition of private investors and numismatic experts for an unprecedented $810 million, shattering every existing coin sale record and elevating the 2018 D penny into the pantheon of world treasures. And since that historic sale, the coin has been exhibited under heavy security in select museums around the world and has sparked a global resurgence in coin collecting with particular focus on modern pennies which many had previously dismissed as too common to be valuable. And now the legend of the 2018 D 1-cent coin continues to grow, not just because of its immense price tag but because of what it represents. The possibility that hidden among billions of mass-produced coins there could be one with a perfect storm of errors so rare, so unrepeatable, and so historically rich that it rewrites the narrative of what collectors thought was possible. And it has also sparked renewed interest in searching bank rolls, pocket change, and family collections for hidden treasures, and for good reason, because if one coin like this could emerge unnoticed, who's to say there aren't more waiting to be discovered? And as this single coin redefines modern numismatics, it also reminds us all that value isn't always about age or origin but about the incredible uniqueness and storytelling locked within the tiniest imperfections. And if you've been inspired by this unbelievable true story of the $810 million penny, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another deep dive into the rarest and most astonishing finds in the world of coins. Because the next historic discovery could be lying right in your own change jar just waiting to be found.